Hello, everyone. You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and this is the Going Solo with Cece show, and I am Cece Shatz. We are the #1 radio TV podcast network for singles, and we're right here on the internet, and we're really proud to be here representing the singles each and every week. So tonight, we're going to kick off the show with a subject that we've talked about many times, but we can never talk about it enough. And it is the 5 stages of recovering after a breakup. The reason I want to talk about this is, I hear it all the time. How long is it going to take for me to recover from the loss of my husband or my wife? How long is it going to take me to recover from the loss of my marriage, from my divorce? And the reality is, we don't know. It's really up to you. I can tell you it's going to take you 6 months. I can tell you a year. I can tell you any amount of time that you want to hear. But the reality is, it really, truly is up to you. It's something that moves within you. It's something that you live with and that you have to come to terms with. And so we're hoping that these shows are going to embrace you, uplift you, and help you to move forward in your life. Even if you've already maybe dealt with the loss of a loved one, there still is something you can learn from this, because each and every time we broadcast this particular type of segment, I always get reached out to, and they always tell me, you know what, there's something here that I've learned that I didn't see before within my life. And so this is why we're bringing this back to you. So going solo after divorce was very popular. And so we changed it to Going Solo with Cece because we now have broadened our horizon to a lot of different types of shows. But I do want to focus on this. I think it's very important, the 5 stages of recovery after breakup. So let's get on with it and let's talk about it, because it's a very serious subject. Most of you have heard about the 5 stages of grief. The 5 stages of grief are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. That's no different than when you're trying to recover from a relationship loss, because guess what? You are in a grieving process. And many times the grieving process is triggered by various different things that may be happening in your life. It could be, you could be doing really well. You could be getting through it really well. And then all of a sudden you could be triggered. And that's because you still need to visit places in your past, the landscape of your life, to be able to deal with some of these issues. And we can't always deal with them all at one time. So that's why it is so important to kind of break this down a little bit so you understand. And I will share with you that these stages that you're going to go through are not going to be like ABC, right? They're going to be moving all around. Different things are going to be happening, and it's different for everyone, which is why I tell you that we may not know exactly how long it's going to take for you to process all this to be able to move forward. But what I will tell you is that you will move forward, that you will see the light at the end of the tunnel, that you will be able to build your life in a way that is good for you, one that you can embrace, and that you can actually enjoy and have fun and meet others, and maybe even move on to another wonderful relationship. So let's get on with talking about these stages, because they're very important. Now, I will share with you, if you have gone through any kind of abuse, any kind of difficulties with regards to your relationship, this process is going to take a little bit more time in which to sort out, but it can be sorted out. It can certainly help you move forward in your life. The very first step we're going to talk about tonight is denial. So often when we have relationship loss, we're in denial of that's going to happen. For instance, you could have a loved one that's been very sick for a long time, and even though you know that the end is going to come, you're still in denial that you're going to lose the one that you actually love. You're also going to, if you're in a relationship and you see that, difficulties and things are happening with that, you kind of put the blinders on and you're trying to fix it and you're trying to solve these issues. And the reality is sometimes we can't solve everything. Sometimes we can't fix everything. And so we're in denial that's going to happen. And we keep trying and trying and trying, and we don't really grasp what is going on within our relationship. Then the other part of denial is the fact that your life is changing. It's going to be forever changed when you, thank you for that, the thumbs up, I appreciate it. But your life is going to be forever changed. It's going to, believe it or not, it's going to evolve. It's going, as you continue to embrace life, continue to embrace the issues in life, your life is going to evolve into something that you want it to be. But the problem is at the beginning, we deny that. We say we want our future. We know the path our future is going to be. We want to continue down that road. Why is our relationship crumbling? And those are issues that we want to deal with. But know that even though you have set the horizon for yourself, you can shift and change and blend and make something even better than what you had envisioned. And I know that's hard to believe for some, because some, especially when you have a relationship loss, you're in love, you want to be able to, you see, a happy senior living, you see all of these things in front of you, and you don't realize that that's going to shift for you. And so it's harder for you to be able to deal with. But know that you can deal with it. And so let's go on to the next stage. The next stage is anger. So often we get angry when we can't control what's happening in our lives. We get angry because we want something different for ourselves. And often anger is fear. It's fear of the unknown. It's fear of what's going to happen to you. You don't realize what's going to happen to you. And so you are fearful of being able to move forward in your life. So you get angry, right? You get angry at maybe things that don't even take place, angry at people that you shouldn't even be angry at. There's many, many ways of, dealing with our anger. Sometimes we even get angry in our higher being. We get angry in God and say, how can you let this happen? How can you let the one that I love leave me? How can you let the one that I love abuse me? How can you let the one that I love leave me? But the reality is, it wasn't God. Maybe it was something that we needed to learn. Not only learn from the experience itself, but maybe learn to be able to embrace our futures, to be able to go to the next level in our lives. Our lives are a mystery, and it's something that we can embrace and we can learn from and we can move from, but we have to go through the stages to be able to deal with it. Our psychic, a lot of times when we get angry, it's our psychic trying to figure it out, right? And so what I would say to you is, if you find yourself getting angry at maybe the smallest minute things, stop for a minute and really look at your life, because sometimes it's not the small things that you're really mad about. It's the big things in life. And when it's the big things in life, sometimes you just have to take a minute to step back, take a breath, and figure out, and Christopher, I hope you hear that, because I'm using your line, and figure out what it is that you want in your life. Where is it going? How can you maneuver your life? Because guess what? No matter what happens around you, no matter what shit you're dealt with, right? You have a choice. You have a choice to be able to move through it. And so that's what is so vital, so very, very important to understand. The next step, number 3, is bargaining. And we're going through these steps pretty fast, so I've got an hour show. But the next step is bargaining. And I think bargaining is something that we don't always think about. Sometimes we say to ourselves, listen, if I do this, will you do that? And we do this in relationships all the time. We say, listen, if I do this for you, will you do this for me? But the reality is, they should want to do it anyhow because they love you, right? They should want to do it because that's really the kind of person that you want in your life. You want someone that's going to do those. But in relationship loss, we sometimes are bargaining with ourselves. Let me stay in it a little bit longer. Let me see if I can just fix it. Let me stay in it. If I give it a little bit more time. If I make dinner a little bit differently. Oh, we've got a comment here. Let me see. Oh. Do true, Cece. Small crap still pisses me off after the years. Absolutely. I totally get it. So true. But when we bargain, what we're doing is we're actually settling, And I think that's important for us to understand, because even when we're talking about recovery after breakup, But when we're looking at new relationships and we find ourselves doing the same crap, right? We're doing the same stuff of bargaining. We're saying, okay, let me do this, I'll do that, and then I'll please you enough that you'll love me. No, that's not the way love works. Love doesn't work that way. And so we don't want to bargain our lives away. We don't want to use bargaining as a bargaining tool. The other thing is we don't want to bargain with ourselves, right? We want to own up and take ownership of ourselves. We want to stand tall and say, you know what? This is what I want in life. This is what I need to do to get it. And this is what I'm going to do. And so we don't do that bargaining stuff all the time. It's, sometimes we throw ourselves that pity party, right? Anybody ever had a pity party where you drink a little wine, you play a little sad music, and you howl at the moon, right? Has anybody ever done that? I know I've done it many, many times. But the reality is that isn't going to solve my problem. I'm just going to have a hangover in the morning. Anybody have a hangover in the morning? Well, I'm right there with you at the Hangover Club. But the reality is I have to choose, you have to choose how we want to live our lives, how we want to get through. And when we start making the decisions for ourselves, when we start saying up and owning up and standing tall, we start going down that road of recovery much easier. It's the reality is it's there. You've broken up, or maybe your spouse has died, or something has happened that's got you to this place. You're at this place. And we can't go back again. We can't change what's happened in our past. We only can propel into the future. So why not stand tall and make a decision that this is the life I want to live? This is how I want to be. And so you're saying to yourself, how in the hell can I do that? Because I have no idea. I don't have a clue. I haven't been by myself. So the reality is that you have to start living within your own world, and you take baby steps. You start doing new things for yourself. You step out of the realm of being by yourself, and gathering with other people, gather with other like-minded people. Join groups. Join Facebook, has tons and tons of groups. Join my group if you'd like. I'll give you, some therapist names. They give you coaches' names that can help you. The reality is you're not alone in this. And so the more we realize that we're not alone, that we can stand tall, we can make a choice in our lives, we can move forward, we will stop bargaining with our futures. We'll stop saying, I'll do this so that I can live a happy life. Your reality is if you have to bargain to live a happy life, you're never going to live that happy life. You're going to be giving it up. And so you want to move through your life. You want to be able to meet people that are going to embrace you, uplift you, and most of all, that they're going to, embrace you enough that you can really step into who you're going to become, because you've got a choice now. And so part of the 5 stages of recovery is the decision making of being able to step into your life. And that's very, very important. So bargaining, we don't want to do it. Let's talk about depression, because depression, nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to say, God, life sucks sometimes, Nobody wants to say, I am down in the dumps because of where my life is. The soon as we can acknowledge that life isn't the way we wanted it to be, the sooner we can fix it, right? Because so often we want to sugarcoat, like the bargaining tool, we want to sugarcoat where we're at. We want to just try to make ourselves feel better. Every day we say we're going to feel better, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But the problem is depression, we get into that muck of depression, and sometimes we need help to get out of it. We need a turn of events. We need a change of scenery. We need a sounding board. We need someone that's going to be able to move us through. So please, if you are feeling depressed, reach out, talk to somebody about it. It's not something that you should bury in the sand, because believe it or not, I'll tell you, I think everybody on this earth has been depressed at one time in their lives, and they totally get it, right? So I'm not telling you you're a nutcase because you're divorced because you're depressed. I'm telling you that there's answers for your depression. And so you want to go and get those type of answers. You want to start dealing with it. But the best way to deal with depression or anything that goes on to your life is being aware that it's happening to you. Sometimes you don't realize that you're depressed when you've gone through abuse, if you've gone through, tremendous difficulties in your life, if you've gone through tremendous loss in your life, you don't realize that the way you're feeling is not how you're supposed to feel. And so if you're not feeling good, if you're truly not feeling good, you want to reach out to someone else. You want to be able to embrace that. You need to know that a lot of times when you feel depressed is not necessarily as you're going through the loss. Let's say you're going through the situation of a loved one possibly passing, being ill and passing. You don't always get the depression then. You don't always get the depression as you're going through your divorce because you're busy doing divorce stuff, right? You're busy trying to start building a life again, trying to just building your household again, trying to figure out where you're going to live and how you're going to make the money, and then maybe contacting people and dealing with paperwork on divorce and all the other things that you have to do. You don't realize until after the dust settles, and that's when you start getting depressed, and that's when reality truly hits you. And that's when you start to think to yourself, how can I move forward in my life? And so it is okay to feel what you're feeling. But if you feel it for too long, if it's changing your life into a negative form, it's very, very important to reach out to someone and talk to someone about that, because you want to make sure that your mental health is really on the right track. And we all have issues with mental health. I mean, let's face it, we all do. In today's world, we all are going to have some sort of issues. So you don't stand alone with that, not at all. And so that's very important to know. And I'm on the last one. So the last one is acceptance. And then we'll talk a little bit more about some other stuff. But the last one is acceptance. And for me, acceptance was very hard for me to deal with. People say, what the heck is acceptance? Let me tell you what acceptance is. Acceptance is sometimes when you are in a relationship, when you see it going south and you don't want to accept it because you're doing the bargaining stuff. You're doing all this stuff to try to hang on to that. Maybe you're fearful that you're not going to be able to step into this new world by yourself, right? So you don't truly want to accept where you're at and where your life is going. And so sometimes you're in this standstill, right? You're in this, your feet are planted and you're kind of, everything's whirling around you. I'll never forget, I went into, I was doing my show, Going Solo Life After Divorce. I was doing it with Anne Marie, and I went into Rhino Studios, and I went in there, and when I was in there, I always come early because I love all this stuff, right? I like to learn things. So I was just embracing my new life and trying to learn as much as I could. So I go early. And so when I went early, I came across this psychic. And this psychic was talking. She wanted to come on and be a guest on the show and everything. And so I touched her. And when I touched her, she goes, whoa, you're like standing still and a tornado is going around you. Your feet, she goes, your feet are firmly planted and there is just so much swirling, so much action, so much going around. And I remember her saying that to me, and she was right, man. She was on target with that, because I mean, my whole world was upside down. The only thing I had going for me was the radio station, the radio show. And I hung on tight to my show. I hung on tight to it because it's what got me through. But I remember her saying that to me. And then I realized, as I was preparing for this show, I realized the reason there was so much tornado going around me is because I would not accept where I actually was at. I did not want to accept the fact that I'm going to have to figure out how to live my life going solo. And that's when it came to me that, back then, that I needed to build this business. I needed to unite singles together in building a life that they choose, going solo, being comfortable and happy with the life that they have, so they can embrace other people, and so we can be together and just really have a great time. And so when I was thinking about it today, I was looking back on that, and I thought, no, that's where that came from. That's where that tornado, that all around me, where I didn't want to accept that I had no future. I had nothing to grasp onto but that show I was doing, right? I mean, I had a job, I was making okay money, I was doing all right. I didn't know how long that was going to last for, but I didn't know where my horizon was. I didn't know where my future was going to be. And that is very frightful when you're older and you've had your path there, you know. And so I didn't want to accept that my life was going to change, and it was changing even though I didn't want to. So as my world was zooming around me, it was changing, but I was just trying to hang on and stay put. But the reality is that we can't do that. We have to accept the life that we have. We have to accept the where we're at. I'm not saying that we have to accept I kind of worded that wrong. Didn't necessarily mean that we have to accept the life that we're in, because I think our life can change. It can shift. It can move to the direction that you want it to move. But we do have to accept where we're at, because if we don't know where we're at, we can't figure out where we're going to go, right? We can't figure that out. So we have to accept where we're at. We have to accept any losses that are in our relationship, and we have to give them honor and respect and give them value. We have to accept the path that we're on, and that we have to accept that we have a wonderful future waiting for us, right? So we can embrace that and we can be able to move forward in that. We have to accept that our lives are going to be forever changed. And, you know, so there's a lot of acceptance going on. And so no wonder nobody wants to go through that phase, right? But let me tell you, it is all a journey. And so what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, let's talk a little bit more about the actual journey. We talked about the 5 stages of recovery. Now let's talk about the other side of that. Let's talk about that journey to living your best life, to trying to figure out how to live your best life. I think that's so vital to us. So I'm going to play a quick little advertisement for you. I hope you'll bear with me, because again, I'm new at doing this, but you know, hey, we roll with the punches here, don't we? That's absolutely what we do. And so we're going to do that. We're going to think positive, and we're going to make this happen. So I'm going to move this up, and let's see if we have this, hopefully. Let's see if we have this on. Just bear with me for 1 second here. Okay, I hope that was okay. I'm not sure if the volume worked for that or not. I'm still a little bit new at trying to figure out how to do these kind of things. But that was ABC CPA, and I hope that if you haven't done your taxes yet, I've done mine. But if you haven't done your taxes yet, if you need any help, it's abccpa.com. So it's abc-cpa.com. So go to Brenda Kenny, and she'll be able to help you with your taxes. So let's get on with the show. So the first part, I have to make sure I do my homework. We got to do it. You guys are listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We're a radio, TV, podcast station. We are the #1 internet singles talk network. And I am Cece Shatz, the Doyenne of Relationship Building, and you're on the Going Solo with Cece show. So let's talk a little bit about our journey. So now we've gone through the 5 stages of recovery. Made it sound pretty easy, right? It's not, and it takes time. So again, do not think that you should be over it if you have a relationship loss of any sort, that you should be over it in any particular time. Have these equations. Well, if you've been married this many years equals this much pain and suffering and you'll be recovered. No, it doesn't work like that. It's really up to you. And if you can deal with it. So here's the thing. A lot of times, those that are going through divorce, a lot of times they're 5 years into their relationship that when they've decided to move on, one party decides to move on, the other one, I call it left behind. So 5 years, they've been trying to figure it out and try to hang on, and they haven't been able to. And so they've decided to go ahead and make that transition. And the other party, has had their head in the sand, so to speak, or, other things have happened. And so they're there. So they've had time in which to heal. So we often say to ourselves, how on earth could he or she move forward in their lives, get new relationships, act like, the relationship is, we've been together for so long. How can that happen? Well, the reality is in their world, they've been stepping out of the relationship long before you were. And that's the reality. So it's going to take you a little bit longer in which to recover from that, and a little bit longer in which to deal with that. We often say to ourselves, are we recovering, right? I say recovered from relationship loss. Do we ever really, truly recover? We may not 100%, but we might learn a valuable lesson with regards to relationships, regards to ourselves, and we might be able to move on with our lives in a much more positive and productive way, which is the journey I want to talk to you about. So let's talk about this half of the show. Let's talk about the journey. The journey is when you decide that you've gone through these phases and you've acknowledged what they are, these relationship loss phases. And even though you're not happy with the way your life is, you realize that you do have to move on with your life. That's called your journey. That's when you decide you're going to do your momentum is going to start gearing up, and you're going to start stepping out, meeting people, doing things differently. And so some of the path of that is that you have to figure out what your joy in life is. And I've talked about this many times, figuring out what your joy in life, what it is, what gives you some sort of salvation to be able to move forward in your life. So we don't know what that is many times, right? Because we've built our lives around someone else many times, men and women both. And now we're here by ourselves and we're saying, listen, I'm solo and I'm not quite sure where my balance is, what I do like. So here's a trick. Go back into your landscape of life and look at times when you were really happy in what you were doing. Do you enjoy, men, you love to go fishing? Do you enjoy sports? Do you enjoy working out? Women and men, creative. A lot of people go into the arts and do different things like that. So women too, you can embrace your creative side. Education, they go into doing maybe some classes. Maybe it's time that you wanted to change your career, and you look at different options in which to, get further education, certifications, do something different. Steve Sabato, he does public speaking, a wonderful public speaker. And he now has developed this wonderful business of public speaking, teaching others and being certified for that. Coaching. A lot of coaches you'll see coaches now that have gone from relationship loss to into coaching and helping other people get through some of those challenges. You'll see dating coaches doing the same thing, the struggles they have in their relationships, moving forward into dating, they've then become dating coaches. So the thing is that if you can think about when in your landscape of life, when you were the happiest, look at the things that you were doing then and what you truly enjoyed doing. And I mentioned on a show earlier this morning, my mom used to say to me, you should be number one. She thought I should have been an attorney because I like to debate or whatever. Basically because I always think I'm right, and which is terrible. It's a terrible thing to always think you're right, but I'm not really always right. I just pretend that I think I am. So the other thing she used to say to me all the time is that I like to talk. But the thing is not only that I like to talk, is I like to communicate. And I find it interesting to be able to discuss different subjects and different life issues. And so, which brings me to my joy, which is the show and other shows that are on the network and talking with other hosts. I really, truly enjoy the communication aspect. So do you enjoy communication? Come and be a host. Come and be a host on our station. We would love to have you. We'd embrace it. And, we've had throughout my divorce group, when we're talking about journeys, we've had artists come on. They've come from relationship loss, ready to retire. And so they've broadened their horizon with taking, art classes, and now they become wonderful artists. One gentleman and now he's actually passed, but he was a wonderful sculptor. He found that he enjoyed sculpting. And so he became that. We had a wonderful young lady that was, when I first started in the divorce group, now she's an actress. And so there's different things that you can do on your journey. There's different passions that you can embrace. And so number one, that's the first thing you need to do, is find your joy. The reason you want to find it is not only gives you a purpose in life, it gives you a direction in life, but it gives you that spring in your step, right? It gives you something like that to be able to go with. Now, the next thing on your journey is building relationships. Our show and our state and everything I do is about going solo, but it's not really about going solo. It's about embracing your going solo life. It's about embracing your single life. And so the journey that I want to share with you is not necessarily that you have to be by yourself. It's that you embrace other people in relationships. So you make friendships, everlasting. There's nothing better than an everlasting friendship. Someone that you can actually talk with, that I mean, I've got several people that I know that through my divorce stuff and things that I've met, if I call them, they pick up the phone and we talk. We might not talk for a long time, but we've got great relationships. And that gives you a sense of security when you're building your life, that you're not totally by yourself. Connecting with other like-minded human beings, other like-minded people. That's the point. So what I'm saying about that, and this is the really most important thing I could share with you tonight, is other like-minded people. So what I want you to do is think about yourself, what your values are, what's important to you. And when you can connect with other people that have the same kind of values, the same kind of connections, and it is so fulfilling that you can learn to trust people again. You can learn to trust relationships. You can embrace your life the way you choose to embrace it. So even if you're single, even if you're going solo, it doesn't mean you're alone. So when you reach out and you start making relationships with people, and not everyone is going to be like-minded like you, and that's okay. They can be the way they want to be. But when you find people that in your life that uplift you, they have the same values you do, you're comfortable with talking with them, you can share good times with them, it's the best relationships in which to build. That's your journey. That's the essence of who you are and the essence of who you're going to be becoming and stepping into. And so that's what's very important. When you meet others that don't fall within that parameter, that's okay. Because the best thing about that is that you learn from them. You learn that you want something different in your life than they do. That's okay for them to do and do whatever they want to do. I have friends that have a different path, different life skill that I'm not interested in. I mean, I don't I mean, I drink some, but I'm not a big drinker. I'm not a big partier. I'm not, but I have friends that I go out with and I do things with when we could do it, but they respected the fact that I didn't drink a lot. I didn't do a lot. I don't do drugs. I don't do any of those things. I can love them for who they are and I can love them at a distance. But to meet the ones that you can have like-minded experiences with is truly awesome. And I've got a tremendous amount of friends that are like that. And I know you will too, as you continue your journey in life. Figuring out what you want in life and where you want to be is truly an awesome experience. And this is why they're building these senior citizen communities. They're not building these old folks homes, right, for people to move into. They're building these uplifting, beautiful communities that people can live in and enjoy life while they still can. They still have all their faculties in place, but they can still be single, right? They can still go home to their home and have their space, but they can also embrace other people and do golf and have golfing trips and travel. We do travel and just a range of different activities where, there's a lot of different things for everyone to do. So what I'm going to tell you is that just because you might have been in a place where you've had pain doesn't necessarily mean that you're always going to be there. And it's your choice of how you want to deal with your life, how you want to move forward. I can only give you maybe advice. I can only give you some words of guidance, some encouragement, but you're the one that's going to have the backbone and the drive to move you forward in your life. And I'm not saying that it's something that it's going to happen overnight. It's something that's going to have to happen in baby steps, because the reason you want to do it in baby steps, have you ever met those people, right? They get from one relationship and they blast right into another one. That isn't going to work. The reason you want to do baby steps is, number one, you want to learn, you want to grow, and you want to savor, right? You want to savor the experiences that you have embraced in your life. We want to live longer. We want to love longer. We want to love harder, right? And we want to have a life that's fulfilled. So the journey is the essence of the journey is what's important. It's not getting from A to B or A to Z and getting there as quickly as you can. It's about embracing it, loving it, learning from it, sharing, there's so many wonderful aspects with regards to it. So with saying that, which is why I am building the Going Solo Network, right? I am building the community of single people so they can embrace their single life, so we can have media like this, all these wonderful shows. We've got health shows. We've got, an abundance of different types of shows. We've got, on the radio, we do when this finishes here on the live streaming, we drop it into our WGSN-DB Going Solo radio station, which is live 24/7. And we drop it in there. And we have other radio shows you guys don't even know about. We've got, Hip and Humble Antiques. I love their show. They talked about collections. Anybody have a collection? If you guys don't know it, I have a spoon collection, and quite a big spoon collection. It probably has no value whatsoever except to me, and I love it. So the thing is, it's like, it's your life and it's your journey. And so why zip through it from A to Z or A to B or whatever? Savor it. Do it in baby steps. Learn from it. If something happens in your life you don't like, take a sideways step and move from it. Move forward. Say, listen, I learned something here. When I'm out dating, right, a lot of times we get so caught up in the whole realm of dating. I know we talk about dating a lot on our station here, but the reality is, if you're going to meet somebody of quality, if you're going to meet somebody that going to be in your life forever, for like wherever you're at in life, but for the rest of your life, isn't it worth taking the time? Isn't it worth going through maybe some relationships that may not be quite right so you can learn what is right for you? So the reality is when we recover from the relationship loss, if we ever truly recover, maybe we don't want to totally recover, because sometimes when we say, when we say recover, we don't want to always forget what we had in our past. And I learned this in an article that I read. I love this term about landscape. We often talk about baggage. I think it's the landscape of your life. You have plateaus, you have rolling hills, you have beautiful streams, you have wonderful tall grass that you can run in barefoot. You feel the cool breeze on your face. You have the wonderful beach and the water on your toes. There's so many things you can savor that we don't want to forget our past. We want to learn from our past. We want to take from our past what is learnable for us. We want to embrace it. We want to be able to share it. And we want to be able to move forward so that we can live a life of our choice. And that's what it's about. So that's the show. And I hope you guys liked it. I've got a comment here. Kimberly, let's see what she says. Go, Cece. Yeah. Now you're from Australia, so you are listening far away. So wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for that. So you guys, let's put up our banner stuff so you guys know all of about our stuff. You guys can email me at goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Kimberly, if you're still listening, I'd love to get you on. I know we talked about you having a show. We need to make that rock. I would love to be able to do that. Our websites, of course, is goingsolomedia.com. We have all of our media stuff on that website. And then also our new singles group, you can go on Going Solo Network. That's got everything on there, tells you everything that we're doing. We're building out a brand new site called Going Solo Community. We're going to have a divorce site called Going Solo Next Step. We're going to have a dating site. We are rocking. And by the end of this year, this is going to be built out like you would not believe. And that is my goal. I have a wonderful website designer that's helping me. I hope he's listening now. Love you very, very dearly. And just know that we're going to make it happen. We're going to persevere. And that is what it is about. Persevering, getting through. Yay. So Kimberly, we hope that you'll join us here on the platform. We would love to be able to have you. So we'll talk about it a little bit off camera. So let me get back to one last thing that I want to share with you. Your journey is not written in stone. Your path is wide open to wherever it is that you want to do in your life. So grab a friend, get another like-minded friend that'll encourage you along the way. Get your buddy and get through it, right? Get moving, get going. Just live your life the way you want to live. Oh, sorry. I don't know who this is, but we'll turn that off. But anyhow, so this is Cece with Going Solo here. You are listening to the oh, shoot, I don't know what that is. Oh, you're going, I get myself all flustered here. That's what I wanted to do. This is the Going Solo show with Cece. And you're on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And we do TV, we do the radio, TV, and podcasts. We're the #1 internet singles talk network. I want to tell you something. You guys probably don't even know what WGSN-DB means. And so I'm going to share that with you because a lot of people ask me, what the heck is that? That is our call letters for our live streaming radio station. We're required by licensing to be able to state those letters. What it means, we are on the west coast of Florida, and Going Solo Network is GSN. GSN is Going Solo Network, and DB means digital broadcasting, which is exactly what we do. So I hope you guys enjoyed that very much. We want to thank our sponsors tonight for the show, which is the CPA, ABC's the CPA accounting. And Brenda Kenny, which is a most marvelous accountant. And I hope you guys will reach out to her. She's right here in Tampa. And just look up the ABC-CPA accounting firm. and she'll help you with any of your tax needs. If you don't have your taxes done, you better get on the phone and give her a call. So anyhow, I love you guys. I want to thank you so much. I hope you'll stick around for the other shows tonight. We've got Chicks Passion. We have our wonderful Veterans Corner, which is awesome. Absolutely awesome. The Veterans Show. That's on at 8 o'clock. Chicks Passion's on at 9. Then we got 10 o'clock with Arnie Fonseca Jr., and he's on Health, Love, and Life Show. And then, of course, we have Dr. Christopher Salute. You don't want to miss him. He's following up with the Barbershop Show. And so they're all marvelous shows, wonderful shows. I listen to them, and I hope you guys listen to them too. Love you all. Bye for now.